Marry me. So we're going to go ahead and get started with making our Sims pan-fried tilapia. So today we're going to be using tofu as our fish replacement, and so I'll have it linked below, but we're using a modified version of this other recipe I found because I wanted to be sure to use tofu as a version, but I wasn't sure how best to go through it, and I found this and I just really love her technique. So we're gonna give that a shot, and then we play around with her marinade just because I personally don't have everything, but this is I like her recipe so far in the comments, and then with it, this is also something that you can do in stages. Like every single part of this recipe you can just like wait for it and do it in steps. In fact, it's recommended to do the marinade for at least a whole day. So we're gonna go ahead and get that started, and that way we can have a nice easy chill day tomorrow with just cooking it up. So what she says is it's just a tofu block, you press it and whatnot. I'm not the best at pressing, so I never show you guys because I'm embarrassed, I guess. But I also, as you can see, my tofu kind of fell apart. This is a firm block, it's just how it goes, but it fell apart while just like taking it out. Anyways, so it's recommended to cut it in half horizontally. That was probably the smoothest time I've ever cut one of these before. Then that way, this is going to be your 2 fillets. Oh, what I'm going to use for these is I'm going to use those as just like, you know, those pieces of the fish that maybe just didn't cut so well. But yeah. And then, anyways. So then her next recommendation is to take 2 chopsticks. I'm just going to move that. See, it's so soft. I don't know why. We're going to take 2 chopsticks, and then you do that, and then that way you can essentially not fully, but cut down in these marks to give it that like flaky texture that fish notoriously have. And since you have the chopsticks there, you don't have to worry about cutting all the way through. This is... Oh, and then I almost just broke my rule because I was trying to do this extra detail. But anyways, this is why I wanted to do it, because I saw this and I was like, ooh, that looks awesome. I love how it looks like a fish. So yeah, we're focusing on the tofu preparation and then the marinade preparation. So these are going to be 2 of our fillets. I'm just going to they're so soft, I didn't want to have to move them. Okay. So I'm essentially just trying to willy-nilly do this so that I can just throw all of this in there. And then that way it still gets the same. I'm trying so, oh, it's a sharp knife. I want to be careful. But anyway, so that should give us our little texture. I don't want to pick it up because out of fear of messing it up. So we're going to go ahead. Ugh, I don't want to put this away like dirty. So we're going to do that to somewhat protect it. We're going to move this off to the side, and I'm going to show you the marinade. Marry meat again. So here we are to work on our marinade. So this is where we differentiate from the recipe a bit. So we're trusting a little bit in the process, but then I didn't have some probably vital parts. So we're just hoping this kind of turns out still well, because essentially with tofu, especially in a marinade, it's going to take on whatever flavors we put it in, and everyone said that the longer it was in the marinade, the better it tasted. So we can't really go based off first impressions as well. So we'll have a little fun with it. But we have a sheet of nori, and I think this part is kind of crucial because it's going to have a lot of salt, and it's going to give that fish, seaweed, right, fishy taste into it. And so I think that part's kind of crucial. I do not have vegetable broth, so, or broth of any kind, or even anything I could help turn into broth, so we're just using water. It calls for a whole cup. I'm using half a cup because it also calls for white miso paste. which I also do not have. And so I'm lessening the water to hopefully make sure that the portions are a little bit more on point, as well as the fact that I want to maybe concentrate some of these flavors some more since I'm not using as much umami flavors. So we're doing half a cup there. This is all going into a blender, by the way. And then we also have lemon juice. This is what it did call for. And I think too that just always goes well when you're trying to do fish. Along with when you're trying to do fish, so I don't have that white miso paste, but to supplement the other umami flavors, we have Old Bay. It did call for Old Bay, so I just increased it. I just doubled the seasonings a little bit, so we'll see how that works out for us. And then we have garlic powder, so for the same reason for umami, I went ahead and did that. If I had like maybe something with mushroom, I would have maybe done that, but unfortunately I didn't have anything like that today. So yeah, I was just trying to figure out ways to supplement umami, and I just found that based off the ingredients I had, increasing the garlic powder and Old Bay was kind of the best I could do. And then your choice of salt, and that's about half a teaspoon. So yeah. Let's go ahead, we're gonna blend this together, and then we're going to get it all mixed up, obviously because we're blending it, and then we're going to go ahead and put it onto our fish to marinate. So we'll see you when we get that part done. Alright, hello again. So we have our fish here. You can kind of see the texture a little bit more. And then we have our little odd pieces as well. And then we have our little bit of marinade, and I'm going to pour it mainly over these top two. And especially since we did those slits, it should hopefully just take in a lot of the flavoring. But as the marinade, we do want to make sure it kind of gets on the sides. And I definitely feel like these portions are more than enough. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like that's a lot of the Old Bay seasoning. So, oh good, it just went down. Yeah. But so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let this stay in our fridge for at least 24 hours. But it said that it can stay in there for at least 48 hours. So if you are not in any kind of rush, if you're like trying to plan a special date night, I don't know what your vibes are, then this is a great way to kind of prepare for it, because then the next steps are essentially frying it. And we're going to do a little trick that she suggests to add skin and everyone recommends doing with cornstarch. So let's go ahead, we'll let that marinate, and I'll see you guys in the future. Merry meet again. So it's been about 48 hours that this has been in our marinade. There's no smell, so that's good. You know, just how we check things. I meant for it to only be 24 hours, but I was really like not having a good day and just couldn't like get up to cook and film. So no worries, I just ate like leftovers and other things, so it's not like I starved myself, but I definitely was like not in the mood. Anyways, I'm over explaining because I'm like, I know we do this for our mental health, but this just wasn't making me happy that day. Anyways, I'm excited to try. So this is cornstarch. She says to get like a skin, like a skin, which I love fish skin, so I'm very excited to try this, but to dredge the tofu in cornstarch. I hate wasting stuff, so I only have a little bit, and I'm gonna try and just get it, because everyone then in the comments said that it just adds like a thin layer, and then we're gonna pop it on and start frying it. I'll see you soon when we have it in the pan. All right, we have our fish cooking right now, and yeah, so something that I didn't like, I could have read her notes all the way through better, is that she recommends if your tofu is a little bit softer to not cut it as far down, and that definitely would have helped. I don't know if you can tell, but some of our fillets have fallen apart, and it was kind of hard to dredge it, so I kind of had to put cornstarch on top of it. So those are just learning things for me. I'm still very excited for this. I think this is still going to cover our pan-fried tilapia meat. Yeah. We're gonna cook these, and then I'm gonna fry up some green beans in the same pan, just using the same juices and oil to help get that full thing. I need to flip them, and I'm realizing I'm putting that off. Okay. I actually could I'm gonna let that one go longer. Little fish pieces, you know, fish with quotation. They look like fish, these little pieces. So it's actually very fitting because it is kind of like when you get like really cheap fish that just like falls apart as you're cooking it. Okay. Oh, okay. So this one would have been better, but some of the cornstarch came like it didn't come. So this is going to be the fish that we test the most for what we want today. I love to have tofu with a lot more color on it, but I feel like because of the oil and the cornstarch, like it's not getting very dark, despite the fact that there's not that much of either. So I'm going to turn down the heat, and we're going to let this continue cooking, and I'll check in with you guys when we're plating everything that we have here. Merry meat again. So here we have our side essentially for our little fillets. So this is a harvest pilaf, so it has some lentils in it, it has some brown rice in it, just a really good mix, as well as a mixture of tricolor quinoa. This is just a mixture I like to use since it all boils at the same point and adds some extra protein and whatnot. So this is like when I was becoming vegan, like one of the like cheats that I came across was mixing grains that cook similarly, and this is what I found at my store that kind of just has like the lentils and the quinoa and like all of the little bits, just brings it together for a great blend. Anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. So this is at a boil. I have it in here. It is a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts water to 1 part of the mixture, and I'm now going to let it simmer on low heat with the lid for at least about 20 minutes. Essentially, I just want all of that liquid to boil up and be gone and taken into. I had salted the water previously, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know into this little process, because next time you see this, it's gonna be on the plate as a side. See you then. Marry me one final time. So we have our quinoa that we prepared. As you can see, I have the fried up green beans. This is a little piece of garlic bread. I honestly didn't toast it. I just like did that little melty butter trick on the hot pan. You guys may have seen me do that through the grilled cheese video. And then I put some garlic powder, and very lightly, and some parsley, and it just helps you have homemade garlic bread. So super easy if you don't have like garlic butter pre-made or anything. Then of course, I already mentioned the quinoa, but we have our little fish fillet here. I did take a little bite. It was on the edge, which in theory, the edge would actually have more flavor because it's gonna have more of the cornstarch on it. So there definitely was a little bit of a skin texture. I think it's due to me just I'm not that good at like pressing things. And then plus with the marinade, it gets moisture back in. So yeah, it didn't get crispy like how I like very crispy, like you could just eat the skin crispiness. So, well, you know. But, anyways, I'm not gonna clarify everything that I said earlier. Anxiety just got me so hard. You guys know what I mean when I talk about things I like. But, I took a taste test, and I will say, if you don't like tofu, you won't like this. If you are a tofu expert, you probably could do this a lot better than me and have a much better result. Tofu is not, I'm not good with tofu. I try to do recipes that don't require this kind of much involvement for it in order to get a good result. Like I love using tofu for like the actual tofu flavor and frying it like coconut. Yeah, I'm not, sorry. We're here. Anyways, you definitely taste the seaweed very much. So also if you don't like seaweed, you're not gonna like this. I like seaweed, but then again, it kind of, so you do kind of, it's like, it's like a LaCroix of fish. So essentially it tastes like you get the tofu and like a little bit of the water action, but then you do get a little bit of that like, oh, this kind of tastes like a fish. And it does taste like a very mild white fish. So pan-fried tilapia, somewhat success. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy this. Something too I'm really excited about is I do think this is going to go really good with this and the garlic bread and like eating them all together. And I think that's going to be the real mystery to unlocking this. Oh, she said to add lemon juice to it. So I'm going to do that, and you'll have to look in the summary if that makes a big difference or not, because I think that actually might really help bring out more flavor. And plus I love lemon. So I guess we'll see. See you guys in the next one. Bye.